And we're live. Woohoo! The more observant of you may notice that Christelle is not here. She had a family thing to deal with. I think her son is either coming in or going out, and she wanted to spend time with him. Unfortunately, coincided with the show time. Either that or she hates Rob. I'm not sure. I said I don't know Rob. I suspect it's probably to do with the family thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, this week's guest is Rob Balasabas. This is, I think you just go by the name Rob, basically.
That's
Rob,
right.
Rob TubeBuddy or Rob Think. You used to be Rob Thinkific, but now you're Rob TubeBuddy.
That's right.
So let me start with a general question.
Sure, let's do that.
Let me think of a general question. Why should people use YouTube? Like, why should people spend time on YouTube and not Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of it? Like, with your TubeBuddy hat on, why YouTube?
Geez, Tim, we don't no warm ups here. There's just no warm.
Well, I have to think of the question quickly.
I know.
A week.
I know. Why YouTube? I mean, honestly, I didn't even think of YouTube first. I always thought YouTube was really overwhelming. Like, I think that in many ways, I think YouTube is like kind of like auto filters people that think like, okay, well, I can create content really quickly, like Instagram stories and stuff, right? That's my favorite, probably one of my favorite platforms is just Instagram stories. Easy, no editing. But I think YouTube is for people. The reason that I started creating on YouTube was because I was creating on LinkedIn a lot, and that's kind of where I built personal brand, I guess, my personal brand. But I felt like it was kind of confined. Like people, it's good. It's an easy way to connect and build relationships and stuff with business associates and things like that, and colleagues, and opportunities did open up for me. But then I started thinking, okay, how can I connect with more people and kind of grow my audience organically? And so YouTube just made the most sense, just because, like, obviously Google owned search engine, all that stuff, and tons of traffic, tons of viewers. So I think of all the platforms, I guess if you want to be discovered organically, YouTube is probably one of the best platforms to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we really need to describe YouTube to people, do we? Because
I don't think so.
Unless you're terribly living under a rock, you probably encounter YouTube. So, like, let's be a bit more Rob specific here. What was your first encounter with YouTube? Well, actually, what was your first encounter with kind of online business, and what led you towards YouTube and ending up working for a YouTube? I don't know how you would describe TubeBuddy. It's like a YouTube utility, kind of supercharging YouTube creator kit. Really.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. My first experience with online is out of college. I started working after a few jobs. My first sort of like real job was as an account manager, sales guy for a digital marketing agency. This is like probably 10 years ago. Digital marketing was much different. It was very like ads and like click funnels was just kind of getting into the game and stuff like that. So doing a lot of that, doing a lot of SEO audits, knocking on doors, calling different companies and Better Business Bureaus, and looking at the list and calling people there. Old school door-to-door sales, but selling digital agency, which is kind of ironic. But that's what I did, and that's kind of my first exposure to online marketing. Got to really understand how funnels work, and ads and social media and SEO backlinks and all that stuff. And that was my first exposure to it. So I did that for about 3 or 4 years, Tim, and then went to another agency and more in the city. So my first job was more in the suburbs of Vancouver, kind of like trying to cater to mom and pop kind of companies. And then I got an opportunity at an agency in downtown Vancouver that catered more to like, I guess, higher end companies, software companies and things like that, construction companies. That's who they were serving at the agency. Met a friend there that worked at another company called, at the time it was called Lemon Stand, which is kind of like a Shopify kind of competitor startup. met him. It's a buddy named Sid, and we got to know each other. And then eventually he left. I'm like, where's Sid? Like, I don't see him in the elevator. Don't see him at the, the taco shop downstairs. He messaged me on LinkedIn. He's like, hey, Rob, I'm working for this startup called Thinkific. I'm like, what the heck is Thinkific? He's like, oh, you should come down here. We should chat. So did that the following week. And that was basically the interview for the company. And so that was the first day to like a 4-year career at Thinkific before TubeBuddy.
Yeah. Because I mean, I first encountered Rob working for Thinkific, which is is actually a platform I'm using for my first training course.
Nice.
It's available, but it kind of needs other courses around it. So I'll get around to publicizing it eventually a bit more.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've been very into YouTube. I mean, I saw you did. You've managed to grow a new YouTube channel to some
couple thousand,
like a year or so, or something along those lines. Can you talk about a little bit about that? Because this was kind of our hidden agenda for inviting you on the show, for our own benefit, as in like we'll go live on YouTube, but it's a little bit of an afterthought at the moment. So.
Yeah.
How does one, as a creator, a creator sounds so artistic, but as a serious creator who wants to actually get traction on YouTube, how do you go about? What are the kind of thought processes you use when you're trying to build up a YouTube channel?
Well, the first thing, I think there's a couple things that are core to growing a channel. First thing, you need to understand what kind of person you are. What is it that you're going to lean on? Like, what is the value that somebody will find in your channel? There's really 3 things in my mind. You're either entertaining, or you're inspiring, or you're educating. And I'm an educator. I'm not like the entertainer or the, Tony Robbins inspirational guy, so I just try to simplify complicated things when it comes to software and processes, when it comes to videos and live streaming. So that's kind of how I see it. So that's the first thing. Understand what is the value that you're delivering. The second thing is be prepared. Like, if you're going to be doing YouTube, you have to be prepared to be consistent. And so that means, my opinion, at the very least, weekly, whether that's a weekly live stream or a new video uploaded each week. I think that's really important. If you're not sure and you're not ready, and you look at your life and your calendar and you're like, I don't have time to record or upload at least once a week, you can still grow. I know some guys out there that have, a dozen videos and have, over 100,000 subscribers, but those are like very outlier type scenarios, and most of them have content and audiences on other platforms, Instagram or Facebook or whatever it may be. So that's it. So be consistent, and then really stick to a topic. YouTube wants to promote your videos. They need to promote your videos because they want to get more people to watch videos and binge watch, so they can make money through AdSense and showing them ads. So work with them. The way you work with them is, communicating what your channel is about, and being very specific. Are you a baking channel? Are you talking about live streams? Are you talking about, iPhones? Are you a fitness channel? Just be very specific. I was all over the place when I first started my channel. I was doing interviews, vlogs, I was doing tutorials, I was kind of all over the place. And then I started to dial into just a couple core topics. And then that's when my channel started to grow.
Yeah. Oh, this show's been all over the shop, really, because last week we interviewed somebody who recruits for the San Diego Police Force. So it's clearly but it's been, I mean, the kind of hidden agenda behind this show, we started off with 3 co-hosts, one who left after about a month. Was really to learn how to do live streaming and that kind of. But it has taken on a little bit more traction than maybe I thought. So we're still doing it after probably 6 months since it was a lockdown thing, like a lot of people. And everybody, the world and his wife, was starting live shows. So hence the title of the show. Yeah. It's yet another live show. Okay, so
I love that. I love the
TubeBuddy.
name. I love the name, by the way, Tim. That's a great name. Not enough.
Yeah. Well, I'm claiming credit for that. It was actually my idea to call it Not Enough Live Show. Though the exclamation mark is more of an issue than it should be. Well, the exclamation mark in the middle as well. It's
Yeah, I love
terrible
that.
for the right name and convention. So TubeBuddy then. I mean, I've actually installed TubeBuddy yesterday.
Nice.
I'm not paid for the paid plan yet, but I can see why people do. Why should a YouTube creator like at least install the free version of TubeBuddy? What does it give them?
Yeah, that's a good point. Two things I would say. First, there's a quick links menu. So YouTube is great. There's so much data. If you love data, YouTube will feed you tons of data. But it has a lot of pages in the dashboard and finding your analytics for different things. So the quick links menu. So if you click on that browser there, right there, you can go to your comments right away, or your analytics and things like that. So that's the first thing. Yeah. The second thing, when it comes to even just our free version has over 30 different tools that you can use, and there's no expiry. Like some software, it's like 14 days for free or whatever. Like there's really literally no expiry to the free plan. You can use it for as long as you want. We're just happy that you're using TubeBuddy and you're part of the community, and hopefully it helps you grow your channel. There's Keyword Explorer. There's a ton of things. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve and where you're at with YouTube and your channel. Then you'll find different parts of TubeBuddy helpful, just because there's over 80 different tools inside of the entire platform. So some people love the Keyword Explorer, which you're in now, to identify keywords that they should make videos about. Some people like the thumbnail split testing tool, so they can see which thumbnails are working the best. I think one of the things that is sort of like an underdog tool that nobody really uses is where's Grisel? One of the things that people don't use enough is the comments tool. So as you get more views and more people commenting, that can be an overwhelming task daily. You get 10, 15, 20 comments a day. So what we've done is we've created a comments tool, so you can create sort of like canned responses for your comments, for frequently asked questions. So that's one of the things that you can set up there. I love that. See, you got tons of comments. That's great. So those are the tools in there. And again, like I said, it's totally free. It's free, and there's a free version that has no expiry, so you might as well start using it. And a lot of things too, I get this feedback a lot, is that TubeBuddy helps teach me YouTube in some way, so, which is really an interesting feedback that I heard multiple times since I've joined. It's like, I just love TubeBuddy because it kind of teaches me how to use YouTube.
Well, also, like just having the navigation menu is because it's so difficult to find anything in YouTube. The UI is terrible, and and then you've got this weird channel. Are you the channel watching it? The person watching? Are you the channel? Finding the channel creation thing, and it's very confusing. So this is actually surprisingly useful in itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, let me hide that for now. And we'll get back to because I can then put up my very long developed QR code for join TubeBuddy if anybody wants to use it, and that's an affiliate link. Also, I put #ad on it. So anybody who wants to quickly go to YouTube, just hold your phone up and scan that QR code using the photo.
There you go.
And it will take you to YouTube, and it'll be my affiliate code. And I'll make huge amounts of money from people taking out the free plan, except they won't. But they do later upgrade, and I might get 30p.
That's right.
So.
That's right. That's awesome. Thanks, Tim. And also, Tim, like one of the things, if you guys are going to be using that, you're going to be installing TubeBuddy, then I'll send a link to Tim. But we do a weekly TubeBuddy 101, which not too many people actually know about. It just goes out to our new users. And it's just live training and Q&A each Tuesday. So if you're new, you're like, where do I even start with TubeBuddy? Then reach out to Tim, or we'll get him a link so that you can join us every Tuesday there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, I signed up to it yesterday. And there's this long-haired guy who does like these 3 introductory videos, which are very good. And I did see a link to your 101. I just didn't have a chance to watch it this evening.
Nice.
So I think it's within the TubeBuddy website. But
Yeah.
It's basically like a Chrome extension. Does it work anywhere else apart from Google Chrome, or do you have to run it on Google Chrome?
Yeah. I believe it also works on Firefox and also works on Edge.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
Most places, but it won't. You can't use it on like an iPhone or Apple.
Yeah. So there's an app on the iPhone. There's an app for Android and iOS. But some of the core features, like some people will come to TubeBuddy for, it's just so loaded that it's a little hard to run on an app. So you do have to go on a browser.
Okay. So like, if I challenged Rob to within like 2 years to have a money-making YouTube channel that could support one person. Let's not be that's our family. And you were like, this is what you had to do full time. I know there's a lot more to it than just let's just do a live stream and set and forget it. I mean, I know from what you are watching a few of your videos, you actually do quite a long sort of checklist process for what you do for creating a video. So let's talk about the stuff that you do apart from recording the video. So like in terms of planning what videos you're going to record, and also like the project management process you use for creating a YouTube video.
Yeah. I would say, a big part of it is planning for me. And then the checklist, which I think you may have seen, Tim. Checklist just helps me. There's parts of YouTube that you have to be creative and all that stuff, but there's also parts that like you just understand. You just need to do. So it's like having a checklist is really helpful, because all these little details that you forget, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about, putting a comment in and pinning it so that it's like a call to action, for my new videos, or, all those things. Oh, I forgot to share it on Twitter, that sort of thing. So, there's that. Things that I guess you don't see are the comments. I think comments for me, I've made a huge point. I've really learned from a few years ago that like community is a huge part of like a lot of people's success online and building a community. So you may not see that part where I'm replying to comments and things like that on my channel. I try to make a priority to do that every couple of days at least, and like have a time block of half an hour or so to reply to comments. Whether or not that's like contributed to the growth of the channel, I'd like to think it has. There's no direct analytics, of course, but I feel like that does. And then as far as like what you're saying there, like in 2 years, let's say you want to have a YouTube channel that can support you financially. I think the biggest thing to learn is that, because a lot of people will be like, oh, I just want to grow a channel so I can make AdSense money and YouTube money. You can do a lot. You can make a fairly decent income with a smaller channel under 1,000 subscribers, for example, if you look at other ways to make money on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. Affiliates right there. So the affiliate money, memberships and courses, right? Yeah. Like, let's say you're selling a membership, you've got 500 subscribers and, $50 a month for a membership. How much money do you need to make? If you need to make a couple $1,000s or a few $1,000s, like, that can be a good chunk of revenue, right? And that's recurring, right? Yeah. Courses, affiliates, selling merchandise, services, consulting. There's so many things. So I think the biggest sort of myth out there that I hear is like, oh, I got to get to 50,000 subscribers or 100,000 before I make some real money on YouTube, because I want to make the YouTube money, the Google AdSense. Yeah. A lot of like bigger creators don't even turn their Google AdSense on because they've learned that they can make more money on other, revenue streams, so something to definitely learn about and plan for.
Yeah, well, it's like a lot of the like history and kind of current affairs channels that I watch on YouTube. I actually watch way too much stuff on YouTube, way more than TV. But a lot of them are on like services like Curiosity Stream and Nebula, and they're basically just their YouTube videos are cut down versions of what they put on these other streaming services.
Yeah.
Now, for something like this show where we stream live to YouTube because we can, because we got free, we use StreamYard and we got free sources, and we all, and I've never been approved for LinkedIn Live, so this was always Facebook, and then it was YouTube, and it's on Twitter. But the trouble with Twitter is you can't pre-schedule anything, so it's quite hard to actually get engagement with it while at the same time. But something like this channel, do you think there's any wisdom in taking clips of existing shows and uploading them as separate videos on YouTube? Is there anything like important like the length of the video? How does the length of a video affect something on YouTube? And can you have a channel just with live streams, or does it make sense to do recorded videos?
Yeah. I think you can do both. Yeah, you can. There's some really successful channels that are just live streams. They've formatted. Depends if you're kind of like a show channel, like what this can be. People will tune in for the replays, and they'll just, it's a really entertaining host, got some good guests, good conversations and topics. People will watch it. I do that a lot as well. Like when I'm working, I just have it like on the other screen and I'm working and I've got the audio, and that's great. So it's kind of like a podcast in some ways. As far as like taking a live interview and then like editing it and then uploading it, I think that's great too. Like I've seen a lot of people actually take Instagram lives and then download the Instagram live and then edit it so that they're side by side with their guests rather than like vertical. And so they're like this, and then they'll upload it like a shorter version without all the small talk and stuff, and just like maybe have the question and answer part on YouTube, and that works really well too. So yeah, I think having a plan, it's all about having the time to do the editing and all that stuff and being consistent with it. But yeah, a lot of those work really well. I've seen a lot of YouTube creators that have live streams on their main channel, and then they'll have a second channel that's just like clips, like a clips channel, like a highlights channel. So they'll have like, I think Joe Rogan had this for a while, where he had his main channel and then he had like sort of the edited version on another channel for his shows. So yeah, you could do that for sure. It's just a matter of having, the time to edit or having an editor to do it.
Yeah. So like one of the big things in TubeBuddy, let's go back to trying to push your product. So my link, and I can shed loads of money from this video. Is obviously the keyword research and descriptions and thumbnails and things like that. He's got a lot of stuff to do. How important are keywords, and titles, and descriptions on YouTube? And like, how easy is it? Like, because my understanding is that YouTube SEO, search engine optimization, for anybody who has no idea what that means. So basically, ranking high on the search in YouTube is easier than on Google now. But how important is that for growing a YouTube channel?
Yeah, it depends who you're talking to, but it again also depends on your channel. So keywords, titles, description, tags, they are all meant to help you primarily on search, so that people are searching and you show up, right? And so if that's the kind of channel, if you have like, let's say a tutorial channel or something like that, news, current events type channel, where you want people to find you through a search, and most people do, then that's really important. Based on that, there's no one thing, because some people will be like, oh, it's all about the title, or oh, it's all about the tags. It's a combination of all those things. If YouTube says that straight out, like it's not one thing. Tags are important, but it's not the end all be all kind of thing. Now there's some larger channels out there that are more, based on suggested views and recommended views. Or they're looking for browse, right? Because like, let's say you're a vlog and you're not necessarily, people aren't searching for you. You're relying on your subscribers. Like, hey, I have a vlog. And so people are watching, like they're waiting for that weekly or daily vlog from me, and that's how I get my views. And then I'm talking about, let's say people are talking about Shoreditch for some reason, Shoreditch vlog, right? I'll make a Shoreditch vlog if I'm there. And then hopefully I get recommended to other people that have watched other Shoreditch vlogs because they're traveling there or they want to see what restaurants are good and cafes and stuff. So those are the things. So I would say when it comes to title and description though, like titles are always going to be important. Even if you're the vlog and you want people, you still need to appeal to the human being that's scrolling and like have a good title that compels them to click into the video, right? But yeah, the description, tags, that's very much search. And then beyond that, Tim, it's like even if you show up on search, then your thumbnails have to be really good. So then that's a whole nother thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So like on a wider digital marketing thing, you can mumble it if you don't want TubeBuddy to find out. But what things are exciting you outside of YouTube at the moment in the whole world of social media and digital marketing? Well, just in the world in general, from a business perspective, what kind of things are exciting you just out and about?
Yeah. I guess like when it comes to digital and the world and stuff, I'm really excited about Instagram. I've always loved Instagram. It's sort of my secondary platform outside of YouTube. I'm excited about Instagram. I guess I'm excited, but also like really curious about where LinkedIn is going to go. LinkedIn is kind of like always trying to push the envelope on videos. They've got LinkedIn stories now, which is interesting. I've tried to play around with it a bit. I know our friend Stephanie Liu is killing it over there, and she's got the LinkedIn course, I believe. So I'm really curious about LinkedIn. I'm just waiting for everything to kind of get better and travel again. That's like when it comes to world events, I guess, and current events, that's like every day I'm like, what's the news here? When can we get back to traveling around? But yeah, that's kind of what's exciting for me. And then and courses. Honestly, Tim, like I'm trying to see where courses are going to go. Like I think a lot of people I'm experiencing with like seeing it around me, like people are obviously schools are kind of a weird thing right now. There's lots of happening in the education space. So like how is education going to sort of adapt to all these changes? So, kind of just seeing what's around me, and that's really what's happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been interesting for me because I get like so many invites and things for online courses and online courses and conferences. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Though actually there was a conference which somebody hosted on Thinkific lately, which I thought was like a novel way of doing it. They should host it as a Thinkific course. And yeah, I mean it's funny to me because a lot of the time the whole move from real life to online hasn't necessarily worked very well. So they've not really invested in software, or they're very error prone. The number of things you hear of stories of like conferences and they've got technical issues and they can't have half the people in, or like somebody glitches out in the middle of it. But yeah, I mean, I think it will make a massive difference when things start happening in real life again.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you, I mean, I know you traveled to London because I met you there last year.
That's right.
And I know I saw from your Instagram story after that you went to Paris. But where else in the world have you been, and where do you want to go? And you are frustrated at the moment you can't get to.
Oh man, honestly, I would say not just because we're talking. I'd love. I know me and my wife and our kids really enjoyed London and Paris. We'd love to see more of Europe for sure. Like as soon as we can. We were planning to kind of actually that trip. We were thinking of getting into Dublin first and then going over to the UK, or to London. But yeah, so Ireland, Dublin, and Spain, the Mediterranean area. I've never been, so I'd love to see that whole part of the world. Yeah, so as soon as we can. I've been to a lot of the states on the West Coast and Hawaii, and obviously Philippines. But yeah, Europe for sure. Love to see more of Europe. You're like,
Well, I'm kind of like, I've still got, as I was saying to you in the pre-chat, I've still got my declared visit all 50 states by the age of 50.
You can do it.
And well, the whole thing is then I can have going with the whole Hawaii 5-0 thing. I can have my 50th birthday party in Hawaii, and it all kind of works out.
That would be awesome.
28 states in an increasingly decreasing amount of time. Yeah, it's very travel is amazing in many ways, but yeah, I mean, I'm also quite interested in other places in the world, like a lot of the Middle East. I'd like to visit. I've only ever been to Dubai.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like it's slightly just a different way of doing it. In Asia, I've only ever been to Asia on one trip, though we did go Shanghai, Macau, Hong Kong. So kind of did a large chunk.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Trip. But it's I mean, given that you're kind of, well, I would say by American point of view, but you're not American anyway, so you're Canadian, so you're a bit more traveled. But by North American viewpoint, you're quite well traveled.
Thanks. Yeah. Love to do more. And yeah, Middle East for sure. Forgot about that. But yeah, we're watching a lot of travel vloggers. There's a couple of travel vloggers that we really like. Their channel is called Flying the Nest. And they had a whole series in the Middle East, like Jordan and Morocco, and like just a bunch of other awesome places. So that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah. So when are you gonna do Rob's travel video?
I know, right? I know. Soon, when we can travel again, Tim. There's not much. I mean, we're actually trying to see more of Canada, which is interesting because like we don't have any options, right? So we're like, oh, maybe we'll go to Banff and Toronto and stuff because we're on the West Coast. So like maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe Christmas we'll go, Banff, which is a kind of a ski town here and stuff.
Rocky Mountaineers, the train.
That's right. That's it. Exactly.
So
Exactly. So we'll see, but just hoping for everything to get better and to the borders to open up again and all that stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But I think you could definitely do Hawaii. How many more years do you have left before you hit your
2023? So I think, I mean, it's gonna be like I have to do like about one a month, or I think slightly over one a month, which is doable because you can. The only problem is all the conferences are all in the same states. They're like all California, Tennessee, Texas, all the ones I've already been to. Boston, well, Massachusetts, I've already been there. But I mean, when I went to, well, I didn't actually intend to go to Inbound. I ended up going to Inbound by accident last year because I was just in Boston. I was actually going to the Tribe conference in Nashville, and Clarice Lynn, who was speaking there, gave me a free day pass, and I was like, okay, I'll do what. So
nice.
Just for one day. You know, one of those tickets where you can go and see the keynotes and you can go to the toilet, and that's basically it.
Well, we'll make like a traveling pop-up conference across all the states that you need to see, and we'll find a way to make it a business expense or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the question I was going to ask you was, what like coming from North America and going to the rest of the world, what's the biggest thing that you noticed that was different in Europe, and in fact anywhere else, the Philippines? Like, what is different from North America to the rest of the world that you noticed?
One of the, well, I don't know about North America, but for sure, like in London and Paris, what I found really interesting was how efficient the tube was, or the subway. The whole system is so efficient. There's apps for everything. It's crazy. Like for here, like our train system is like basically a loop. It's just one big loop. But there is very complex. But it was really efficient. Every 3 to 5 minutes, there's another train. People got in, they got out. There's a way. I don't know. It was just really efficient. That it was really easy to get around. People are just like heads down. They just need to get to their place, which I respect. There's and people were very straightforward. And especially in France, I found like people were just like very straightforward. Like some people said like, nope, no English here. You got to learn French. And I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. So I had to take out the Google Translate and stuff. But but yeah, it's an experience that I really like. It's good to experience different ways of living and different cultures. I think it's one of the things we enjoy.
Okay, so this interview is going all over the place, but then I tend to.
It's all good.
Let's talk about, who do you most admire on YouTube as a consumer of YouTube content?
Sure. Yeah.
And like, who would you say are the best? Well, no, let's just ask that question, and I'll come up.
I would.
I don't want to double phase a question.
Yeah, no. Probably my favorite YouTube creator is there's a guy named Johnny Harris. Yeah, and he was one of the creators at Vox, the Vox channel, VOX. Yeah. Just like, he's totally not in my space. He talks about like geographic borders and sort of like political, social like things around current events and stuff that's happening, and just like really like hard hitting content. But I really like his storytelling. I like his the way that if you pay attention to like how he maps out sort of his content, his videos, it's like, it's hard not to watch the whole thing, So trying to learn from that, and how to keep people's attention and engagement, stuff like that. But yeah, I just love his content. So Johnny Harris, yeah. So he's kind of recently started. I think he started doing his own thing. Like, he's no longer with Vox now. He's kind of doing stuff for like Wall Street Journal and New York Times and stuff. But yeah, one of my favorite content creators for sure.
Okay. Well, I was gonna the follow-up question, which
yeah.
I was trying to. I've been interviewing people for years. I used to interview people when I was in corporate for like a large time. It wasn't my main job, but I should know not to. Don't put two things in the same question. But the follow-up question was, who are good examples of creators that people should be looking at on YouTube to kind of emulate? I mean, obviously you've given one you're trying, but you're probably more at the advanced level in trying to learn YouTube. Who are some good, like, these are creators maybe in the marketing space or outside the marketing space where you think like, well, they're a good example of a YouTube creator that somebody should have a look at, and not necessarily copy slavishly everything they do, but they'd be a good place to kind of get the gist of a person who does a good job at creating a YouTube channel.
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's a lot that let's see. There's a guy out in Sweden. His content's in English. Peter Lindgren, if you guys want to look him up, awesome guy. He's out in Sweden. He's in the YouTube space, but he's very, very creative with the content that he creates. He talks a little bit about entrepreneurship and stuff like that, but he's a good guy. There's also Catherine Manning. She's out of the States. She's kind of like, she's blown up very big on YouTube over, like, I think in a year she hit like, I think over 200,000 subscribers, but in a really competitive space, which is YouTube growth and coaching. And she did it by being more of like, not the typical YouTube coach expert. So she's another one. Catherine Manning. And then there's Annie Dubé. She's out here and she's on the east coast of Canada. I think she's in Quebec. 22, 21 years old, and just very mature about like how she approaches YouTube as a business. And she's very big. The thing that I really like about her, she's very generous with her community, like in terms of her time and answering questions. And so going to your question earlier, Tim, of like, how do you grow your channel? She does like almost a daily live stream that she immediately, I think, either deletes or unlists. And her live streams are just like, what questions do you have? Like, what are you guys working on and stuff like that? And she just answers questions. And she's built a huge following on YouTube, on Instagram. She has a Facebook group that has thousands of people in it. So, doing it really well. So yeah, I would say those are three that are like really solid content creators.
Well, it's like you've got a Facebook group. Is it Content Creators or something?
Yeah.
It's quite active. Why did you? Is that something you did personally, or is that part of TubeBuddy? Or
no, personal? Yeah, I've had that group for probably a couple years now, and really, it's just a way, because even at Thinkific, I was working with a lot of our partners, and I was like, how do I maintain relationships and touch points, but at scale, well, if that makes sense. And so I said, okay, well, I created a private Facebook chat initially with about 20 or 30 of our partners. Started some conversations, added some people, all extroverts, of course, because they're speakers and stuff. And and I fell asleep because it was in the middle of the night, when your best ideas come to mind. And the next morning, there's like 200 or 300 messages, and people are like, this cannot continue. Like, we need to move this off to a Facebook group. And so I did. So that's where the Content Creator Cafe kind of Facebook group started, and just kind of went from there, started growing. And it's not a place where I do I do share like events and live streams and the occasional like product that I've found useful, obviously with an affiliate link, but for the most part, it's just a place for me to kind of, keep connected with a a lot of people. Yeah. There you go.
Grab back up again.
Right there, guys. Right there.
I'll put in the comments as well, because obviously I don't want to be. I was thinking I am discriminating against blind people who listen. There's more people with like visual impairment. They listen on YouTube. I mean, I find myself sometimes going and because I don't listen to as many podcasts as I used to, but a lot of them are on YouTube with just like default graphics. So I'll watch them in quotes on YouTube. So I think that's another area that people don't need to necessarily forget, that some people just can't see what you're talking about, but they like listening. So
that's right.
I think it's TubeBuddy.com/StoneandPress is what I put. Now I do like the fact that the TubeBuddy affiliate thing is not some weird like $AB14 -72 like Amazon. Amazon affiliates are terrible. Your one is just TubeBuddy / and then whatever name you want to give, which is a great way of doing an affiliate link.
So easy, right? Yeah, I know. I'm like, is this it? This is like literally 3 seconds and you have an affiliate account with us.
And it's like, there's also like, not like, we're going off on tangent here, but like, that's what makes the show interesting in a way.
I love it.
I've done my first course on is this product called Phrase Express, which is a German text completion bit of software. It's actually really good. But I worked in IT long enough to know a company that's driven by developers. Everything you do with them is just so like, you go to their support thing and you always get developer answering the question or support person in front. But their affiliate scheme is such a pain. I had to send off some signed document to say that I could, like, and I had to prove that I wasn't doing it for money laundering reasons. You compare that to the TubeBuddy one. It's like, PayPal link, email address, and it's a different way of doing things.
I know. It's funny.
I mean, anybody who doesn't know what an affiliate link is, affiliate is basically where you recommend somebody's products and you usually get an URL or coupon code or something. And then if you use that instead of just going for the main thing, then that person who's recommending it will get a cut. So that's
right.
Okay. So I did talk about like show length and like, my understanding, and maybe you can correct me on this, is that on platforms like Facebook, unless it's like a live video and a regular show, you should probably be trying to keep your video length under 5 minutes or probably even less than that. But on YouTube, you want video. There seem to be lots of people padding out videos to 10 minutes on YouTube for some reason. Is 10 minutes something to do with the monetization on YouTube? And like, what would you say if somebody had to ask you for the optimum YouTube video length? What would you say?
Oh man, yeah, that's $1 million question, eh, Tim? Yeah, I don't think there is a optimal time. Like, I don't think there's a magic number. Yeah. If you look at some YouTube channels that have been around for a while, you'll find that some of their videos tend to be around the same time because they've figured out, based on analytics, what their audience is willing to watch. Yeah. So, there's a couple channels that I know for sure, like vlog channels, where their videos are always around 10 to 12 minutes. It's like kind of weird. Like, why are they always around this time? But that's just like, they're looking at their analytics. And that's really the answer there, Tim, is like, make a bunch of videos. If you're starting out, make a bunch of videos. Some are like 2 minutes, some maybe 10, some maybe 20, if you've got a long tutorial or a long vlog. And then just look at what's called like watch time, right? If you look at your analytics, you'll see watch time. And you can see like how much of a video people are watching. And that's really it. And if your videos are 5 minutes, but people are only watching 2 minutes, then you probably can't make a longer video than 5 minutes for now, because you need to figure out how do you hold someone's attention for at least 5 minutes, right? So there you go. You got it right there. So watch time right there, right? So, so you can look at each video and actually see the watch time for each video. That's called retention time. So, and it will there it is. So average view duration. Exactly. There it is. So, so you can kind of see there, like, how much are people watching, so that's really it. Like, you can make a video for as long as you want, like, or as short as you like. I would say at least make it a couple minutes long. Don't put like 30-second videos or 60-second videos. Probably not very little people watching that. But yeah, just pay attention to your analytics. That's really the most important advice that you can get, is make a bunch of videos, then see. Right? See. Yeah. And then take a look at where people are dropping off. You can see that in the analytics as well, like literally what frame. When I look at my older videos, Tim, it's like my introductions were like 3 minutes long before I got into the value and delivered what was being, shared. And so I had to learn, like, okay, I need to make my introduction way shorter. So now my introductions are like, hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to go live on LinkedIn. Let's get started. And like literally like 20 seconds, 10 seconds. And then people got past it, then they got what they came for, and then they'll stick around. So yeah, that's my answer to that. It's kind of a, hopefully not a cop-out answer, but like, you got to just look at your own watch time, and then just see how much video people can watch on your channel, and then just continue to improve through your editing or through your scripting or bullet points, so that you can get people to watch more of your videos.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about editing. I mean, most of the video editing I've done seems to destroy my laptop because it's very CPU intensive. But what would you say are the basics of video editing, and what software do you use to edit videos?
Yeah. I used iMovie. I'm a Mac user, so I used iMovie for the longest time, and that has been great. About 6 months ago, I started using Camtasia for my editing, and so that's what I'm using now. I really like how Camtasia works. I do a lot of screen recording as well, just because of the tutorials that I'm doing for different software. So yeah, that's what I use. But you can use iMovie. You can, especially if you're on Mac. I guess you have to be a Mac user. If you're a PC, you can use Camtasia as well. That's probably what I would go for. It is it's not cheap, but it's a one-time fee to purchase a license.
It's usually on special offer in Black Thursday. I think that's when I bought it. I've not got the very latest version. I've got an old version. So but yeah, no, that's what I use for video editing as well.
Nice.
Mostly. I've started experimenting with this free one called Shotcut, which has got a terrible UI, but the reason why I'm mucking about with it is because you can automate it more easily. So I'm trying to get it to cut out video slices. And I haven't quite got there with the actual, because I've been focusing a lot on the automations when the lockdown. So
nice, smart.
So we've talked about creating videos. About editing videos.
Yes.
What other things can we do about videos?
What else is there about videos?
Equipment. Now,
yes.
I'm using Logitech webcam at the moment, and I've got stupidly expensive podcast equipment. So I've got Shure 55 SH mic and a mixer and effects board, which I'm too frightened to use. What would you recommend people who are looking to start doing, like put their be in? They might have an idea for a YouTube channel, but they don't necessarily, or they can't afford to spend lots of money on it. What are the essential things to look at equipment-wise for creating YouTube videos?
Yeah. Honestly, I was talking to there's a creator out there. Look him up, Miles Beckler, Miles, and he's got like 150,000 subscribers, and all he uses is his webcam. He's got like a Logitech, I think, like $60 webcam, maybe $90 webcam, and he has headsets like these ones, like earbuds, as a microphone, and that's how he rolls. That's just, he does tutorials, he talks about like SEO and stuff like that, and he's never really gone fancy. So I would suggest, I would suggest that, like, for the longest time, that's what I used. I used iMovie, my MacBook webcam, the built-in one, not even an external webcam, Tim, and then a couple of earbuds that I plugged into the MacBook, and that was my microphone. And that's what I started to use. That's really it. I got some new equipment. I got some equipment when I joined TubeBuddy, just because I was doing stuff for the TubeBuddy channels and stuff, and so I wanted to make sure that it was done right. But if I wasn't, I would just go back to that. Especially if you're doing a lot of screen sharing. Your camera, like if you want to be on the screen while you're doing screen sharing, talking about software or whatever, your camera, you show up really small. Like now, right? We show up really small. So it almost doesn't matter. Like, the quality is going to be great. It's going to be fine because people are paying attention to the screen. They're like, oh, okay, what are you doing in the back end of YouTube there, Tim? So that's what they care for. So if you're a vlogger, or if you're doing stuff that's like obviously like cinematic or anything fancy, then you have to get the gear and you have to invest in those things. But if you're not, I wouldn't do that until you start experiencing, or at least have a plan for ROI, right? How do you make money? Because all these things cost money, right? So I wouldn't make it like, unless I wouldn't spend on it unless you're kind of running something that does pay you in the back end, kind of thing. So but yeah, for me, I use a Canon M50. That's a camera that I'm using right now, right here. It's connected. I've got a Blue Yeti, and I've got a couple of softbox lights from Amazon here. That's like $100, I think, for a pair. And that's it. I don't have any windows in this home office, so I've had to be a little creative with my lighting. Tim, you'd appreciate this because you're a podcaster. I picked up the Rode NT1 XLR mic, so that's going to be my first XLR mic. I was told to get it because we're creating some content on the TubeBuddy channel. So I'm going to upgrade this USB Yeti mic to an XLR one. So we'll see how that goes. So that'll be fun. I've never had that set up before. So, but yeah, just don't let the gear be the thing that convinces you that you can't create content until you have it. Sometimes gear, I find, Tim, can like hold you back, or it moves you forward. Like some people will find gear like, oh, I just got this mic. All right, let me figure how to use this mic. It's gonna take me a week, and then I can start podcasting or whatever. It's like it becomes the crutch that they like lean on to, like, is their excuse. Sometimes people like, oh, let me get the mic now. Okay, now I have the mic. I feel good. Like I'm confident. I can like do this interview now. I can create these videos because I have a mic. I have a nice camera, so I feel better. I'm more confident. All right, I can create some content. So it can be good or bad, I find.
Okay. Right. I thought of two questions. One I've asked before, but I'll ask you, because I'm sure there probably are some random people who happen upon this interview on YouTube. Whatever means. Or maybe they're searching for Rob Balasabas, or there's somebody famous who becomes Rob Balasabas, and you end up coming in lots of searches. But
right,
let's say I'm an 18-year-old. I'm not an 18-year-old, and I come to you and I say, like, I really want to be a YouTube star. I want my career to be a YouTube hit. What would your advice be in terms of the probability of somebody being successful in terms of earning an income on YouTube? I mean, I know it's not. I know some people would say that's a silly idea, and there's no way you can make money on YouTube, but clearly you can by all sorts of methods. but like, what I mean, how realistic? How am I between 100% and 0%? Would you say is a reasonable bit of advice you give to 18-year-old? Doesn't necessarily know what topic they want to do on YouTube,
Yeah.
but they're committed to it. I mean, I'm not talking about somebody who will do one video and then give up, but they're prepared to put the work in and to follow good advice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. It's a good question. It's a good question. I think about that a lot. I've got so we've got a 10-year-old boy here in the house. So our son. So
And you
he
start
actually, I helped him
YouTube.
create it. Yeah, I helped him create because he likes Minecraft.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I helped him create a Minecraft channel for himself where he does like tutorials and stuff like that. So, kind of having conversation. I had this conversation with him the other day, and it's like, hey, like I know, you kind of see people here, YouTube creators, and they're making money on YouTube. So let's not make that your life goal, right? Like that's my thing to him. Like, let's not make this your life goal. This could be a great thing, that you build, but let's still like figure out what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. YouTube can be part of it, or it could be something that's down the road, a big part of it, right? Could be a small part, could be a big part. Either way, it looks like you enjoy being creative. This is a creative outlet. So look at it that way. If it was an 18-year-old and was like, I would say like, don't put all your eggs in one basket at this point, right? Like understand YouTube, grow it on the side, but still figure out like, like a business that's, online, or offline, or a career, but YouTube can be a part of it. Build it on the side, right? Build it on the side. So, especially for an 18-year-old, you have so much time in your hands. So build it and then see where it goes, because YouTube costs a lot of money. There's going to be lots of up and downs, So, so that's what I would suggest. I would say like, be realistic. It's not going to happen overnight. Although there are some outliers, right? Because people, I think right now, Tim, people see like TikTok and like, oh, let me make a TikTok account and I can like blow up so quick. YouTube just isn't the same. It's YouTube takes time, So, yeah, I would say build it, but be realistic and make sure you have a plan B and plan C if you're an 18-year-old trying to grow something on YouTube.
Yeah, because I think it's not 100% sure. Well, maybe if they do it 60 years or something, but it's like 50 years waiting for your YouTube channel to blow up.
Yeah.
And the other question that I don't know if I ever asked you. I may have asked you in London, because I got fed up with everybody asking like what you do as introductory questions. So I've got a different introductory question I ask people, which is describe yourself using 3 animals.
Oh man, wow. Let's see. Describe yourself using 3 animals. I would say that's literally the first time I've gotten that question, Tim. So, let's see. I'd say a dog. Pretty loyal, I would say. There's been a couple instances for sure in the last this year, like where I'm like, kind of shows like I kind of had to really think about it. But yeah, I would say a dog, kind of loyal. Let's see, what other animals are there? Let's see. I'm trying to think. This is a tough one. How do people answer this one, Tim?
Well, the funny thing is that some people know straight away. Some people, I mean, I'm amazed. Like, some people will just say, yeah, I'm a pig, I'm a and then I'm a platypus or something like that. And I'll be like, what? And other people are like you, which I think is actually more reasonable, because they're kind of like, I think it explains a lot of self-identity. I mean, loyalty is clearly important to you, because that's one that came.
Yeah.
But what other attributes do you think?
I like, I like the ocean. So what is that? That's like, that doesn't really filter it down too much. It's still a big space. A lot of animals in there. I like, I also like, I'm trying to think of like, what are animals that are social? Because I find like I like to be around other animals, I guess.
I'm trying to think,
I feel like it's like you too, right, Tim?
Like, this is a thing, getting old. It's like, I can't remember all the stuff I used to. But yeah, like there's lots of social animals. I just can't remember it.
There's lots. Turtles, maybe turtles. Travel in packs. Yeah, there you go.
Well, that does the old sea thing as well. So
There you go. There you go. 2 for 1.
heading up onto a beach.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
And as we're kind of running out of time, which is in
Mhm.
the tradition of the show, we usually go a bit over. But
It's okay.
how can people find out about Rob, you,
Mm.
TubeBuddy,
Yeah.
or your Facebook group, and anything else that you've got?
Sure.
Or
Awesome.
in any way whatsoever.
Tim, this is awesome. It's good to just catch up with you. No, TubeBuddy, this link right here, this will take you to TubeBuddy right there. Me, just copy and paste my name and search for me on YouTube or Instagram. You'll find my accounts, and reach out anytime, by all means. Just message me, questions, anything. I'm always happy to help. Yeah, and then the Facebook group is Content Marketers Cafe. So you'll find it. It's like a yellow and black banner, and that's it. So just find us on there and just join us, and we'll be happy to have you. And yeah, Tim, always good to hang out with you, man. I miss that that meal that we had in Shoreditch with Matt and Dan, and that was a good time. So we'll have to do that again.
The world before lockdown. I'm sure
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Hopefully, social media marketing will next year will happen at some
I'd
stage.
love to. I'd love for it to happen. One way or another, we'll find a way.
Well, great to have you on the show, and this is where I have to start scroll, because usually Christelle talks at this bit, so I can get away with scrolling and actually press the right button at the right time. Yes, I just play the outro. That's what I do. All right. Thanks, everybody, and thanks for being on the show, Rob.
Thank you, Tim.
This is terrifying for me.
I've made more money in the last 3 years than I did in the previous 7.
Cliche shit, you know.